Alakazam, the special attacking powerhouse with godlike speed, an IQ of 5,000, and destroyer of ice cream. Second only to Mewtwo as one of the most powerful psychic types during its introduction, Alakazam is one of the strongest Pokemon out there. Or was it? Let's find out. In this video, I will be going over these popular competitive formats. Gen 1 Alakazam was one of the best special attackers in the game thanks to its incredible high special stat, speed, and the fact that nothing resisted Psychic besides other Psychic types, allowing Alakazam to only need one attacking move, Psychic. Thanks to Alakazam's speed, it could outspeed Gengar and blast it with a Psychic, as well as outspeed Tauros in a one-on-one and could even survive a Hyper Beam from it if it set up a Reflect. Since special was just one stat, Alakazam could survive a lot of special hits, like 2 hits from Articuno's Blizzard, Zapdos' Thunder, and a Fire Blast from Moltres. It also got Thunder Wave, which allowed it to slow things down even further. Though Alakazam is amazing in this generation, of course like with any Pokemon, it had its weaknesses. Alakazam's physical defense has much to be desired, which is why it carried Reflect most of the time during this gen. Because of this, if Reflect was not up, it had a hard time switching into attacks. Also, Slowbro, thanks to its access to Amnesia, which is basically 2 Calm Minds in Gen 1, is able to outlast Alakazam and set up in its face, which could force a switch. Other things that checked Alakazam included another Alakazam, Starmie, and Chansey. Though the problem with these 3 is that although they could take hits from Alakazam thanks to their high special stats, there wasn't much they could do to Alakazam to retaliate, resulting in a standstill, with Alakazam hoping for special drops from Psychic during the battles. Though despite these checks, Alakazam was one of the most powerful Pokemon in the original games. Alright, Gen 2, things get a bit harder for Alakazam, and yeah, you're gonna hear me say that a lot every generation except for Gen 5. Anyway, thanks to the special stat being dispersed into special attack and special defense, Alakazam's special bulk went down significantly from what it was in Gen 1. With both its defense and special defense being lackluster, it was harder for Alakazam to switch into attacks. This, and with the popularity of the new Dark and Steel types, Alakazam became weaker overall, at least when compared to the first gen. It also got walled pretty well by the likes of Tyranitar, Snorlax, and Blissey. However, it still had the best speed and special attack of all non-legendary Psychic types. With Psychic, it could hit a lot of Pokemon it was faster than, like Gengar, Tauros, Venusaur, and Raikou. Just like Gengar, Alakazam got access to the elemental punches, allowing for more type coverage such as Fire Punch versus Steel types. It was also the fastest Pokemon to get Encore, which it could use to lock Pokemon into doing a move such as Curse users like Steelix and Snorlax. With all this, Alakazam was still pretty strong, just not as strong as it used to be. Alright, Gen 3, Smogon Singles, Alakazam got even more moves for its move pool. With access to Calm Mind, despite its low defenses, if it was able to set up a Calm Mind, it could outspeed a lot of Pokemon and KO them often in one hit. Thanks to its coverage, it could hit things like Metagross with Fire Punch, Starmie, Slowbro, and Gyarados with Thunder Punch, and the Dragons with Ice Punch, all for super effective damage. Some Alakazams carried Hidden Power Water to hit its checks such as Houndoom, Tyranitar, and Claydol to an extent. Though once again, Alakazam needs a Calm Mind or 2 up before it could one-hit KO things. Because if it doesn't take it out in one hit, it's going to eat an attack, which its poor defenses most likely would not take well. Depending on the set, it could also Encore stuff again, use Substitute to avoid being paralyzed, as well as use the move Trick to trick items like Choice Band to lock its opponents into doing only one move, or the Macho Brace to slow them down. In this gen, it was walled by Blissey once again, even with Calm Mind. Though it was possible for Alakazam to use the Trick set or even the physical Focus Punch set to catch Blissey off guard, but that is considered unorthodox. Snorlax could check it as well if it carried Shadow Ball, as it could take unboosted hits. It could also be checked by Houndoom and Tyranitar if not carrying Hidden Power Water, since both of these Pokemon were immune to Psychic. Alakazam may have gotten more moves and was overall pretty strong, but it was just shy of top tier thanks to its overall bulk. In Gen 4, Alakazam's usage went down further thanks to the addition of the item Choice Scarf and the physical and special split with moves. Thanks to Choice Scarf, a lot of Pokemon could outspeed Alakazam, making its high speed slower relative to the Scarf users. Since it could not take many hits, Scarf users could outspeed it and possibly KO it. In addition to this, the physical special split took away Alakazam's elemental punches, since those were all made physical, as well as added super effective attacks to its physical enemies, most notably the move Pursuit. This gave rise to Alakazam's new mortal enemy, Scizor, since Scizor had access to a Technician boosted Pursuit. Also, with the addition of Bullet Punch to Scizor's move pool when Platinum came out, Scizor could beat Alakazam one-on-one if Alakazam did not have a substitute out or carry Hidden Power Fire. Azelf was also preferred over Alakazam despite having a bit lower speed and special because it had access to Nasty Plot, which gave it more damage in the long run. Because of all this, Alakazam, at least in OU, mainly utilized Substitute with 3 coverage moves. Also, since Focus Blast is now a thing, it can finally hit Dark and Steel type Pokemon like Tyranitar Tyranitar and Heatrat for a significant amount of damage so long as it doesn't miss. Hidden Power Fire also lets it hit Scizor, Metagross, and Skarmory. It could also use Signal Beam against other Psychic types like Starmie, Azelf, and Celebi, though without Hidden Power Fire, it doesn't do well against Steel types that are neutral versus fighting. Unfortunately, it is still walled by Blissey again, and as mentioned before, taken out by Pursuit users like Scizor if it has no substitute up. Alakazam was still strong and fast, but as far as usage goes, it dropped significantly. Good thing it goes right back up next generation, or we might have had a similar case of Snorlax on our hands. In Gen 5, Alakazam got a big break in the form of its hidden ability Magic Guard. This ability allowed it to avoid entry hazards like Stealth Rocks and Spikes, be immune to toxic damage, weather damage, Leech Seed damage, and of course, Life Orb recoil damage. Though Magic Guard did not prevent the additional effects of paralysis or burn. This allowed Alakazam to be one of the best revenge killers in OU. It could utilize either Life Orb for more damage or Focus Sash, as it will always be able to take at least 2 hits from a non-multi-hit move because it can't be hit by entry hazards. It could use Psychic and its speed for more solid damage on common threats like Keldeo, Terrakion, and Gengar, but it could also use Psyshock to hit special walls like Chansey, since Psyshock targeted the physical defense instead. Shadow Ball allowed it to hit common ghost types like Jellicent, Encore let it lock opponents into a move just like in previous gens, and Thunder Wave allowed it to cripple Choice Scarf users or Settle Sweepers like Choice Scarf, Jirachi, and Volcarona. As far as weaknesses go, its lack of bulk once again made it weak to things that were faster than it like Priority users and Choice Scarf users. It was also once again checked by things that could wall it like Jirachi, Latias, specially defensive Skarmory, and Gastrodon. But even with these weaknesses, Alakazam was still a potent threat in Gen 5 as it was now overall safer to play. In Gen 5 VGC, Alakazam was used as a late game sweeper thanks to Magic Guard since it could not take residual damage from hail or sand. Alakazam's speed allowed it to outspeed threats like Choice Scarf, Abomasnow, and Latios. With Shadow Ball, it could hit Latios and Jellicent for super effective damage, as well as Tyranitar with Focus Blast. If it wanted to hit other steel types like Scizor, Escavalier, and Metagross, one could also carry Hidden Power Fire. Though even with the move Protect, Alakazam could still be taken out by Sucker Punch users like Toxicroak, as well as Bullet Punch from Scizor because of its low bulk. It also did not appreciate Trick Room because of its incredible speed. Alakazam was definitely overshadowed in Gen 5 VGC, but still saw some usage. It could possibly be partnered with Pokemon that had access to Quick Guard, like Hitmontop, which also had access to Fake Out. And finally, Gen 6, Alakazam was granted a Mega Form that greatly increased its special attack and speed. Just like with Gengar, I will be talking about both regular Alakazam and Mega Alakazam. Regular Alakazam was once again a notable revenge killer thanks to Magic Guard. If it could come in safely, it could ignore entry hazard damage and KO various things with Psychic or Dark Pokemon like Tyranitar and Bisharp with Focus Blast, though it should beware of Sucker Punch. It could also carry Hidden Power Ice to deal with Landorus T, Garchomp, Gliscor, and Dragonite if Multi-Scale is broken, as well as other coverage moves like Hidden Power Fire or Grass Knot depending on what your team needs to cover. Thanks to Steel types no longer resisting Ghost type attacks, Shadow Ball could be used to take out Jirachi. Mega Alakazam was granted a whopping base 175 special attack and 150 speed, allowing it to vaporize the likes of physically defensive Landorus T and Mega Venusaur. Thanks to its ability Trace, it could come in on weather sweepers like Mega Swampert and Excadrill, copy their speed boosting abilities, and take them out. Overall, both Alakazam and Mega Alakazam were strong, but there were some problems that put it in borderline tier rather than OU. For one, the move Knockoff was buffed from base 20 to base 65 and did 50% more damage if the opponent's held item was knocked off. Since quite a bit of Pokemon carried Knockoff due to the buff, it was hard for Alakazam to survive if it did not one-hit KO the opposing Pokemon. In addition to this, once again the Choice Scarf users could get the better of it like Jirachi, Latios, and Landorus T and take out either Alakazam due to its lack of bulk. If it did not carry Psyshock, Assault Vest users could also check it. The priority users like Bisharp, Azumarill, Talonflame, and of course Scizor could go first versus Alakazam and deal massive damage. And that's it. So how did Alakazam do? Well, Alakazam had an amazing start in the first generation because of the singular special stat and psychic typing. But as the generations went on, the changes to the overall game pushed its usage down until Gen 5 when it got its hidden ability. It did make a brief comeback, but in Gen 6 it was once again placed in just shy of top tier. And I hope Gen 7's mechanics at least helped it, but who knows. Thanks for watching everyone. If you liked the video and want to see more, be sure to leave a like and of course subscribe to my channel for more weekly Pokemon content. And as always, comment on which Pokemon you want to be covered next. Alright, that's all I got. Have a nice day everyone.